Hey fight fans, welcome back. Today we're shining the spotlight on the powerhouse Dmitry Bivol. We're going beyond the basics to unravel his explosive boxing style and dissect the techniques that make him a force to be reckoned with. We'll dig into his knockout strategies, break down his defensive brilliance, and reveal why Bivol is creating waves in the boxing world. Get ready for an in-depth look at the fighter who's always turning heads and shaking up the sport. Let's dive in. In the world of boxing, Dmitry Bivol is one of the few fighters alongside Floyd Mayweather who has beaten Saul Canelo Alvarez in the ring. They fought for the WBA light heavyweight title when Canelo moved up a weight class. Despite being a huge underdog, the odds with over 400 to 1, Bivol dominated the fight and outlanded Canelo in every round, securing a unanimous decision win. Since that fight, Bivol has continued to shine. He's won 3 more bouts and even captured the IBO light heavyweight title. Bivol's style has gained him a lot of attention, and his performance against Canelo is definitely worth a closer look. Dmitry Bivol began boxing when he was just 6 years old and went on to have an impressive amateur career. He won 2 world championships and 2 Russian national titles, with a remarkable 268-15 record before turning professional. We're going to dive into the techniques and strategies that had made Bivol so successful. These insights might even help you improve your own boxing skills. One of the key elements that makes Bivol stand out is his use of a high guard. Dmitry Bivol doesn't rely on flashy defensive moves like the Philly shell. Instead, he keeps things straightforward with a high guard. This approach offers solid protection by making it easy to block incoming punches and reducing the damage from them. However, there's a trade-off. While the high guard is great for defense, it can make it a bit more challenging to counterattack effectively. Another key part of Dmitry Bivol's game is his powerful jab. He uses it extensively to keep his opponents at a distance and control the pace of the fight. His jab is sharp and strong, rarely missing its mark, which makes it tough for opponents to get past his reach. It's one of his main weapons in the ring. Plus, after each jab, Bivol quickly brings his hands back to his face, which helps prevent his opponents from landing counterpunches. If you watch Dmitry Bivol in action, you'll see how smoothly he uses pivots to avoid punches. His footwork is top-notch, a common trait among boxers trained in the Russian style. Bivol uses these pivots to create angles that make it hard for opponents to land their punches, while he finds openings to land his own shots. Unlike many boxers who move forward aggressively, Dmitry Bivol prefers to fight from a defensive position, often moving backward. He lures his opponents into throwing combinations and then uses his footwork to set up counterattacks. It's a bit like how Floyd Mayweather would control a fight while moving backwards the whole time. Dmitry Bivol is incredibly solid in terms of boxing fundamentals. He keeps things straightforward in the ring, focusing on the basics like maintaining a high guard and relying heavily on his jab to break down his opponents. He doesn't go for flashy moves or untested techniques. Instead, he sticks to tried and true fundamentals, which has played a big role in his success in the ring. Dmitry Bivol's combinations often begin with a jab. Unlike many fighters who just see the jab as a setup, Bivol uses it as a key part of his offense. He constantly peppers his opponents with his jab, using it to control the distance and disrupt their attacks before they really get going. The jab is crucial in setting up his offense, especially for his favorite combination, the jab and cross. Bivol frequently lands this combo, catching opponents off guard. His powerful jab forces opponents to focus on it, which creates openings for his hard right hand to come through the middle. Dmitry Bivol's jab is pretty interesting because he mixes up the speed and power of it. He doesn't throw it the same way every time. Instead, he changes things up to keep his opponents guessing. Sometimes he'll throw a slow jab to distract his opponent, making them think he's losing speed. Then, he'll fire a quick, powerful jab right down the middle. This variation makes it really tough for opponents to predict and counter his jab. Bivol also uses his slow jabs to push his opponents off balance without breaking the rules. While pushing is illegal, experienced fighters like Bivol can disguise these pushes behind their punches to set up more powerful shots. One of the standout aspects of Dmitry Bivol's style is how calm and composed he remains during his fights. You can really see this in his match against Canelo Alvarez. Despite facing a top-tier opponent, Bivol managed to outland Canelo in every single round. It was a huge test for him, and he handled it like a pro. Bivol is also good at avoiding unnecessary brawls. He's skilled at spotting and dodging the traps that opponents try to set for him. He usually begins his fights by focusing on landing jabs and then builds on that with more complex combinations as the fight goes on. Dmitry Bivol's fighting style is a lot like the approach of other boxers from his region, such as the Klitschko brothers. It's a methodical and well-developed style that has been proven to work at every level of boxing. If you check out some of Bivol's fights, you might pick up a few strategies that could be useful in your own boxing game. Dmitry Bivol's boxing style is truly captivating and worth diving into if you appreciate the finer details of the sport. He combines exceptional rhythm with a smooth, fluid movement that makes his fights look almost effortless. This natural grace is not just about aesthetics. It's a fundamental part of what makes him such a formidable opponent. One of Bivol's standout qualities is his athleticism. He has a remarkable ability to move quickly and change direction with ease, which helps him stay out of his opponent's reach while remaining in a perfect position to strike. This agility is a key factor for his success, allowing him to control the pace of the fight and execute his strategies effectively. When he was an amateur, Bivol racked up over 200 fights, and that foundation is still evident in his pro career. He's adapted his style, but the core principles remain the same. Think of it like a musician who's changed their sound but kept their core skills. Amateur boxing is where fighters like Bivol build their skills. It's not just some stepping stone, it's essential. Without those early experiences, pro boxing wouldn't be the same. Coaches in places like this help shape these fighters into what they become. Now, if you're training to box and thinking about emulating someone, you may want to look at Bivol and Vasily Lomachenko. Their styles are more practical for aspiring amateurs. Bivol's stance is one of his standout features. It's wide, which allows him to move in and out of range smoothly. This wide stance means he can quickly go from being on the edge of range to long range and back. There's a drill called the Stinger step, where you practice moving forward and backward, which helps develop this kind of mobility. His high guard is another key element. Bivol often catches punches on his arms. Even when his lead hand drops, he shifts his body weight to his back leg, making him more defensive. This approach helps him absorb shots and tire out his opponents. It's like playing a strategic game. He lets his opponents throw big shots and then counters effectively. One interesting thing about Bivol is how he squares his upper body while keeping his lower body in that wide stance. This allows him to absorb heavy shots while still being able to deliver powerful jabs. His jab is particularly strong and effective from long range. Finally, Bivol doesn't rely on flashy combinations. He keeps it simple with straight shots, which he delivers with impressive power and precision. He's really good at moving into range, landing heavy shots, and then adjusting his position as needed. If you are a boxing enthusiast or even a fighter yourself, studying Bivol's matches could offer valuable insights into techniques and strategies that you might want to incorporate into your own style. His fights are a showcase of how sticking to the basics, while continuously refining and adapting your approach, which can lead to outstanding success in the ring. In conclusion, Dmitry Bivol's boxing style is a masterclass in technique, rhythm, and strategic execution. His smooth footwork, precise jab, and composed demeanor in the ring make him a standout fighter and compelling figure to study for anyone serious about the sport. If you're fascinated by the nuances of boxing and want to delve deeper into techniques that set top fighters apart, make sure to check out Bivol's fights and see those principles in action. For more insights and in-depth analysis of boxing's best, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown. Drop a comment below sharing what aspects of Bivol's style you find most interesting. And let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, fight fans.